So we're into draft, and so the challengers that won the last game, iCan't, and Zilla up against the 5-time champions Sting, VTG, and ISG. And we've got Neon and Seng here with us right now to take us through the draft.
So, straight to the draft, let's see. Lyraban and Skyban for ASP side respectively. Very quick picks coming out. Arden first pick on A side, pretty normal as we saw in the previous game. Lorelei and Samuel coming out. Two very interesting picks, not very commonly seen. I've seen Samuel pick up a bit Lorelei, the new hero this patch, so I'm not sure how that will turn out, but seem very confidently picking that up.
And you got a Celeste pick, which is also seems to be coming back into the meta right now. And for the third, Lorelei is an interesting pick to see where it'll go in jungle lane or in the captain position. But Blackfeather locked in for iCan right there against the Samuel, which works pretty well.
If I was to speculate, I would say that this Mara is in fact in the lane position, as we do see. As if it was in lane, it would be a double CP. Not sure if weapon Lorelei works, but Verona being picked up into that Blackfeather, as we know from the last patch, a very good counter to Blackfeather, especially with his nerf this patch. She's even better into Blackfeather. So this Celeste will have to try to just poke from that back line and ensure that Verona doesn't get too much damage on that Blackfeather, and we're hopping in game.
Yeah, and this is going to be a jungle Blackfeather, so he's going to be at a more of a disadvantage because the Rona's going into lane, which gives her a lot more gold, which allows her to pick up her core items quicker than what the Blackfeather might be able to. And the Blackfeather will also be up against the Samuel in jungle. Samuel has spikes earlier and has probably one of the best level 2s in the game, so it'll be interesting to see how this works out for Team A.
This Lorelei also has that huge barrier for that Rona, so as she jumps in, she can mitigate the damage coming out from the A side completely, and that could actually be a huge advantage for B side. So this Lorelei pick may actually be a great pick for B side.
So what do you think would be the win condition for the champions team in this composition? How about
so the Rona being able to scale up. So Samuel needs to pressure the Blackfeather in the early game, which he does pretty well. Lorelei needs to be able to just put a lot of poke damage onto the Celeste and not allowing her to farm and scale up, because she will be a monster late game. So winning the early game and mid game will allow Team B to take this game away from them. So what do you think, Sam?
Hopefully we can pull it off. Samuel is pretty decent this patch. He has a recent buff to his nerfs and bullets. That's a good skill by Razor. Not what you want to be for Samuel in the early game. You want to outspike your opponents. But we shall see how this holds up.
Yeah. Double contact once again coming out from Icon, while Sting only getting that protector plus the light shield with a few flares, so they have vision. So quite a normal early game, but we did see that Asa did get that credit, so a little bit of gold, more gold coming into their pockets, but not too much to be worried about at the moment.
I'm very curious to see how this Lorelei will be of use in these team fights. She's a relatively new hero, so I can't really say that she's good, or bad.
They were jumping straight onto ISG, but getting completely out the stain. Villa did have the damage, like a ton of damage onto ISG, but ISG's perk plus that healing that he gets from his drifting dark allowed him to get up to pretty much full. And now with Villa dropping low, but gets out with his life.
You should bomb back right here. You don't want to pick a fight when you're less than half health in that situation. Everyone
Also
seems
to
to be
notice
lining
is
on this one.
the stun, the A ability of Fish Food from Lorelei does a ton of damage if you stand into the pool after the stun goes through, and which will be a huge disruption to Team A as well. So that's something to look out for in this game.
I feel like
from what? Yeah, you go.
Okay, Karen.
You go.
I feel like Indy really needs to jump on this Celeste. That's their current win condition. BTG should be the one to initiate follow-up by Sting with B to help slow down the enemy so that BTG can stay on top of that Celeste. I feel like if they were able to delete that Celeste immediately, in fact they should be able to take the win.
I think we'll actually start seeing it pick up once both the Romans get their level 6, because both Romans have huge game-changing abilities once they hit those ultimates.
BTG dropping very low, gotta be very careful there.
Yeah. So once the Romans get to level 6, we may see some more fights happening.
Yeah, even though the Samuel's great to siege turrets, the Rona on the other hand is much, and we see Blackfeather take down the Rona in jungle, and the first one goes over to Team A as well. But yeah, going back to that point, Samuel's great in sieging turrets, but the Rona is not, especially in the early game against the Celeste, who has great wave clear. So the comp makes sense, but it doesn't play to their strong points as much as they'd like it to.
Team A actually has just over a 1k advantage at the moment, so if they take the fight, they should have the item advantage, as they also have shot just before. However, we see 3 man coming up.
I can. You opt for an Force Burn, which I think is kind of nerf dispatch with the reduced damage. Not too sure how effective it will be in these team fights, but honestly I would prefer to see like a Shatter Glass or an E come out of him instead, but we shall see.
The crystal power on the Frostburn was nerfed in the last patch. They made it a bit cheaper this patch around, but it doesn't seem to be as viable anymore. But the Lorna taking a ton of damage, it might go down, and goes down to the Blackfeather. Lorna going low as well, has to pop the healing flask. Samuel trying to put down damage using his Drifting Dark, but being blocked by the minions. So wasn't able to make an impact of it as much as he'd like to.
ISG actually went really far forward there. Takes a lot of damage for that. So overall, a great fight for A side. Picks up 1 kill without losing any members. So that's great. They can now apply some pressure to this turret.
Very good seeing by Razor to soul that Crystal Sentry. Dropping very low. It seems to be full of confidence of his own ability. And surprisingly, Team B didn't pick up on that and follow up in the future, but it's always good.
Yeah, Zilla picks up the steals the mid from Team A's jungle and was able to get his health back. Also, interesting pickup from Samuel as an E for his first item in jungle, which is not something you usually see from a jungle Samuel.
Probably thinking of sustaining in this fight, but honestly, up against the Celeste, you kind of want to burst her down, so maybe a Shatter Glass would have been better.
And especially early game when Samuel has the advantage and has the damage to be able to do that. He'll throw the
Jumping in. Takes a lot of damage as a result. Zero trying to trade into a great soul to make a huge impact in that fight. Blackfeather actually catches both the VPG and Sting, following into ISG, and gets the triple kill with that on point right at the end. So a huge fight for A side.
Yeah, he comes from behind.
Now the Toby standing at the hefty amount of 8 minutes in. It's not where the champion team want to be, especially with the comp.
Sentry's
That's
also
the
off
second.
shooting high. Yeah.
Yeah, so Zilla were working towards making the jungle their own.
Sting doesn't seem to be able to land his aims as frequently as he would have liked. It's reducing the amount of utility that his potential can give out. So maybe if we can see him land a few more of those, D-side can actually win a fight.
Yeah, but now that you have the level 6 come up on the Lorelei, we might start to see a bit more impact from Sting on these team fights, and maybe reduce the damage coming out of the Blackfeather execute a little bit more with the barrier that comes out of her ultimate.
Wayne is actually infused on that Blackfeather, picks up the train as well. So this would be a great time to fight as the sentry is not ISG getting caught out, Wayne uses those defensive, taking damage. So fighting Wayne with Ican using his Solar Storm, picks off, manages to connect onto VTG and ISG. D-side dropping very low while A-side super healthy and pretty much full health on every number.
That was definitely your going over to the immediately deleted.
Yeah,
Yeah, Swanson fought by Sting but wasn't able to keep the Samuel alive. Rona had gone back to shopping. And interestingly, Blackfeather has his two core items, namely the Serpent's Mask and Breaking Point already, while the lane Rona still hasn't been able to get that yet. So that's what. So the Blackfeather invading and being able to push the goal lead has really helped them propel this Blackfeather and its power spikes. Also, close to 7-8k gold lead for Team A now, with Ican sitting on 3 items on a Frostburn, Eve, and Clockwork. So it'll be really hard for them to be able to match up to Celeste and the Blackfeather now.
There's a really interesting pickup on Sting. I see this voice battery in his inventory. That may be an Echo coming up second item. So that's definitely an interesting item. Trying to go for that double barrier, most likely for either one of his carries or junglers. So that could actually be a great pickup on this. Maybe he's jumping in. Dropping
very low by the whole first one, well done.
And Sting goes down by the damage without using his fountain or his ultimate, and not being able to provide any utility for his team. Samuel left alone to defend the turret, but won't be able to as the turret goes down to massive amounts of damage that the Celeste putting down.
You can also see that there's a 2-level advantage on Azula plus the infusion and a 1-level advantage on Ican with the infusion as well being in that fight. So that's definitely not a fight that B-side wanted to take, and they ended up losing all 3 members for it. Or actually only 2. They didn't lose that many.
Yeah, and interestingly, it was Lona that initiated the fight. Lola is really squishy and is getting taken down in the fight even before she can use any of her activatables or her abilities. So she already had the Echo online, but she wasn't able to use the Fountain or Echo or even one charge of her ultimate.
This is looking very one-sided. So, Zilla's actually able to 1v1 this Rona at the moment. Not in a position you really want to be at. Just turret dropping very low. Ican actually takes it, and they could try to just go for the game, but they decide to go for the fight for the country, do huge amount of damage. A double gauntlet plus the supernova from Celeste, twice to get a double kill for Celeste, and that would definitely be a good game.
Yeah, that is great. Sting, even with the Echo, wasn't able to use her ultimate even once during the entire game, which is definitely something to look out for. Sting was usually being taken down before anyone else would, and wasn't able to provide the utility that she can, that Lorelei can.
So that
clean game, perfect KDA on the side of everyone, 15-0.
also just below a 13-minute game, so very short game as well. Quite one-sided, and the champions have been dethroned.
Well done to the champions team and the challenger team. They have finally been dethroned. Well played by both sides. However, champions team falling short of both macro and micro play to the challenger teams.
Yeah, lower back pick not really working out for them. As they
I guess they did have something in mind, but they weren't able to execute it quite as well, and there was a lot of small objectives which allowed Team A to snowball over Team B, as well as minute team fights. So overall, yeah, I think Team A definitely outperformed Team B in that fight. Well done to congratulations to our new champions, and good try to our previous champions. Maybe we can see them try to come out in next week's handpicked showdown, and hopefully upset the current champions once more.
Yep, and regain their title as champions. So that's it for this week from Showdown. Let's see what we have in store for next week. That's it for this week. Thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you for casting with me, both you and Dane. It was a pleasure, and yeah, so we'll see everyone next week.